Hey, hello Java Challenger. I'm here in another live with you, and today we're gonna be talking about ways to get promoted as a Java developer, and and well, basically more specifically, how to be a developer in high demand for companies. So just to remind you, this is just our warm-up series because the event that will really transform your career is a high value developer roadmap. And I'm looking forward to meet you there on the 10th of February, 12th, and on the 14th of February. I'll be there for you, showing the way to work on a stress free job, earning top salaries, and also so that you can work with cutting edge Java technologies. So I'm very excited for this event, and I'm happy that I'm going to be helping you to improve your skills as a Java developer and want to help you to go to the next level. So, okay, so let's talk here about some principles that will get you to the next level as a Java developer. So, the thing that is important is to master core skills. So let's talk about those skills that are important. So how can you be more valuable as a senior software developer? So obviously you need to know Java very well. It doesn't mean that you need to know everything about Java, but you need to know enough, like at least the main principles like object-oriented programming, you need to know functional programming, you need to know about concurrency. You need to know at least the basics so that you can solve most of the problems, right? Because like you don't need to be, to know Java very deeply to solve day-to-day problems like business requirements problems. You would need to know a lot about Java if you were working directly in the Java programming language. Then it would be a different story. But if that's not the case, you don't need to worry about going so deep into Java. Java is important, it's a tool, and it will help you to solve problems, to uh, create solutions for the real world. And nowadays, it's very common that in interviews, you have to know about data structures, algorithms, and system design. Back in the days, it would be enough to do a very simple algorithm, to know some concepts about Java, some frameworks, and it would be good to go. But nowadays, things are changed because the vast majority of the companies are using microservices, so the services are deployed in the cloud. So you need to know more about the cloud. So um, that's why in most companies, you're gonna have interviews with data structures, algorithms, and system design as well. So you need to, you don't need to know a lot about the front end, just the basics to create a normal screen, that should be enough. But the back end should be your strong side, right? As a Java developer, you need to be strong at Java and all technologies that surrounds Java. Because if you know only Java very well, okay, you're gonna solve some problems, you're gonna create better code. But if you ignore all the other technologies, it's gonna be very difficult to solve day-to-day problems. So highly recommend you to learn also those technologies such as containers, maybe Jenkins. In some companies, they use Terraform or CloudFormation, whatever technology. So you need to know what those technologies do exactly. So because it's much better to have the software engineer mindset instead of the programmer mindset. So Like back in the days, a programmer would be the most common kind of profession, right? You would get the use case and you would know everything you should do. But nowadays, the scenario has changed and we need to solve problems. We need to be good problem solvers. So you have to know how to solve a problem that you've never seen before. And the only way to learn those technologies faster is by mastering the fundamentals, right? So if you master the fundamentals of algorithms and system design, data structures, all of those things will help you to learn other tools faster, right? And how can you practice those things? So problem solving, you can practice on those websites like LeetCode and HackerRank. The more problems you solve, the easier it will get. I know this is obvious, but I know that many developers, they don't want to, they find it boring to solve those algorithms, but it's good to have the habit of solving those algorithms as much as possible, even more if you're looking for jobs, because in most jobs, you're gonna have to solve a coding problem. So you need to be practicing, and algorithms, it's like math. You need to practice to be good, because the more you practice, the more patterns you're gonna create in your brain, and then it's gonna be easier to solve the problems during an interview. The worst thing you can do is to practice algorithms during the interview. It's gonna be very difficult. It's much better to practice at home, right? You go to LeetCode, you go to HackerRank, you understand the patterns, you get used to those patterns, you get used to those algorithms like depth first search, breadth first search for graphs. You learn the data structures, you learn more deeply strings, you learn more deeply arrays, and then you're able to solve those coding challenges more easily. So it's a better idea to get prepared beforehand, otherwise it's going to be very hard to pass the interview. You can also get certifications depending on your level. So if you are an intermediate developer, maybe AWS or Java certification will help you. Like if you are a senior Java developer, maybe AWS is better, right? Because as a senior software developer, you're gonna have more problems related to maybe architecture or microservices, so it's gonna change a little bit. And it's important to know about containerization tools like Docker or Kubernetes. So it's a good idea to have a pet project where you use those technologies. So use Docker, use Kubernetes, and you can deploy your service into the cloud, for example. And well, as a Java developer, you also need to know Spring Boot and Spring Cloud, because more than 80% of the companies are using this framework. So it's a must. It's a must know, right? It's a must-have skill as a Java developer. And CI/CD is also crucial. So basically, it's continuous integration and continuous deploy. So continuous integration is when you integrate your code and you test. And then the deploy is when you deploy your code, your software, your application in the cloud. And when you're working with microservices, it's important to monitor and log everything that's happening in your application. So there is one here that's very famous. It's Prometheus. Some other companies use Datadog or Dynatrace. And it's important to understand how it works so that you are able to identify where are possible problems in your microservices. So you need to understand what those technologies exactly do. Message brokers like RabbitMQ or Apache Kafka. So from my perspective, Apache Kafka is more popular than RabbitMQ. So if you are to choose any of those technologies, I would recommend you to pick Kafka to use it on your pet project. Use Kafka just to test, just to see how it works. Uh, Databases, if you know a relational database and a NoSQL database, that should be good enough. You can learn a graph SQL as well if you want, but it won't be necessary for most of the companies. In most companies, you need to know relational database. So it's better to be stronger in relational database rather than the others. But you still need to know what those other database technologies do. So you need to know how to design a microservice where you would use either a database that is GraphQL or NoSQL, for example. And so you need also to have a strong portfolio, and a pet project would help you that. And you can also go beyond by having an open source project, or you can contribute to an open source project, right? So that's a great idea if you want to get visibility in the market. And also understand the business domain. So this is a knowledge that it's something that you can only learn inside the company, right? So how can you learn more about the business? You can, well, in most companies you're gonna see a wiki, right? A Jira board, a Jira a Confluence page where you can read the business requirements, and you can learn at least the big picture of the business, right? So that you understand what exactly it is going on with the code. Sometimes the code is very complicated, doesn't make much sense, but if you learn about the business and the domain, it's going to be great. And notice that you won't learn the business domain overnight. It will take time. So that's why I recommend you to create consistency on learning the business. So if you learn a little bit about the business every day, you're going to become an extremely valuable asset to the company. And to not promote you will be very expensive, because if they don't promote you, you might leave the company with a lot of knowledge, right? Doesn't mean that you can't share your knowledge. Actually, by sharing your knowledge, you become more valuable. You don't need to hold all of this business knowledge, because it really doesn't matter. If you share, it actually matters, because if you share your knowledge, you become more recognized, and you become a reference to others, right? So the more you share knowledge, the better asset you become for the company. So understand the business domain, because that's something that only who are inside the company can have. If someone new starts in the company, it will take some time until this person gets up to date and learn the important business requirements. So if you learn about the business requirements, you are ahead, right? Okay, so I see here Luis. Hello, Luis. So yeah, Quarkus, yeah, it's great. And well, it doesn't change much if you learn Spring or Quarkus. Like, they are very similar. Um, I love Quarkus, so if you want to create your pet project with Quarkus, go for it. Or even you can create, one microservice with Quarkus, another one with Spring. You can create another microservice in another whole programming language. Doesn't really matter. Maybe you can create another microservice with Golang or Python, whatever the programming language you like, and make those microservices communicate to each other, because that's what will make you really learn those tools and grow your problem solving skills. Because if you're only studying very specific technologies, that's not what the companies are looking for anymore. Yes, if you're a Java developer, you should know Java very well, should know Spring very well, because those technologies are basically everywhere in the market. But you don't need to know all of those surrounding technologies very well. You need to know enough to solve problems. And how can you do that? You can create a pet project, or you can contribute to open source projects as well, because that will help you a lot, on your CV, right? So if you contribute to Mockito, for example, or to JUnit, so JUnit is one of the most used libraries in the world. And imagine if you put on your CV that you contributed to JUnit. That's amazing. And if you want to go to that route of contributing to open source project, start small. Start fixing documentation, start humble, right? Because if you make a contribution to open source and nobody knows you, it's very difficult that they will accept an important contribution. Like if you want to create a new feature, an important new feature, it usually doesn't work. So you need to start small. Start with the things that no one wants to do in an open source project. And we can also, work on open source projects you like. So, for example, if you like Quarkus, why not starting with Quarkus? And you also need to be adaptable, and you need to have the learning mindset, because in our profession or in any other profession, but in our profession mainly, you're gonna have to learn continuously forever, right? And that's okay. Like it's fun, right? We solve those puzzles in code. We are having fun while coding. We are solving those complex problems. Sometimes we are facing a bug for maybe a long time, and then it's such so fun, such an amazing feeling when we solve the bug, right? So it's amazing. Like our profession, while it's challenging, it's also amazing, like the power we have, right? We can create software we like. So if you want to create something useful for us, we can do that. And I highly recommend everyone here, if you have an idea to create something useful for you, just go for it, because that will help you to improve your problem solving skills. And no certification, not a course. Well, of course will help you, but you know, uh, the ability to get your knowledge and create something with it, that's what will create skill, right? So you need to get into this habit of putting your knowledge into practice, right? So if you know about Spring, create a microservice with Spring. If you know about AWS, deploy your Java service on AWS. If you know about Jenkins, create your Jenkins job and put your whole software there. Or you can use Git flow, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. You just need to, create something, create your software using the CI/CD uh, um, pipeline, because that will simulate what we have in companies. Like I think no company nowadays, like all of them are using CI/CD, because it's so useful. It's amazing. And you also need to work on your soft skills, because once you know technical skills, you need to learn how to communicate. You need to know how to not let your ego on your way, because sometimes you your ego is on your way. Sometimes you are afraid of asking something, because you don't want to be like, you want to solve the problem yourself, but you have to know when to ask for help to solve your coding problem. And this is a soft skill, right? So junior developers, usually they will either ask very quickly or they will try a long time by themselves, and they will waste a lot of time to try to figure out the problem themselves. And the more you grow in your career as an intermediate or senior software developer, you need to know this balance, this fine line. Like you can't, just try to solve the problem and oh, it didn't work, and then you start asking everyone. No, you do some research, you try it out, and then once you try it out and you see, okay, I'm wasting time here, then when you ask this question to someone else, don't simply say, hey, how can I do that? No, tell this person that you tried. Say, hey, I tried this thing, I tried this other thing, I tried this. So you give the whole context to the person so that the person doesn't waste their time, right? And then you can solve your problem more quickly. And that makes you two good things. The first good thing is that you show the other person that you're not lazy, you're trying things, right? And you are thoughtful, you are skilled. Whereas if you just say, hey, how can I do that? The person will think all the bad things possible about you. They will think, oh, this person is lazy. This person didn't even try. Or this person think I have to work to this to him or her. So you're gonna trigger lots of bad thoughts. And it's better to uh, you know to be proactive when you ask. You say, hey, I tried this and this and this. What is your approach? What do you know about this problem? Can you give me some insights? Can you give me a documentation? Can you give me whatever? Because, sometimes in big companies or even in small companies, if you don't have anything to solve that problem, then how can you do? You're going to waste your time talking to thousands of people. No, you ask someone, right? You ask someone that um, will guide you to solve that problem. You need to know the basics of networking as well. Well, actually, I'm talking about networking with people, not networking for the cloud. But here's the important thing, like, I'm not saying to do networking randomly. So, and you also need to create real connections. You can't like go to an event and say, hey, I'm here to get everything. You can't have the taker mindset. Like if you have the taker mindset, and if you go to a conference, people will notice very quickly. And then what will happen is that you're gonna lose reputation. A better approach is to, tell them that you are doing the work, tell them what you're doing, like tell them the cool projects you are working on. Uh, Share all the skills you have, because like you can't do networking randomly. Like you have to tell people your value, and you have to listen to their problems as well. So if someone have a problem, they will love to be listened. So, and the active listening skill is very important in communication. So the more you grow, like as an intermediate developer to senior developer, like at the point that you are an intermediate developer, it's very important to focus on your soft skills, because your technical skills, yes, you're gonna be improving that forever, but the soft skills become more important at that point, because that will decide if you're gonna grow a lot in your career or if you're gonna take a long time. And when I say soft skills, I talk about communication. Communication is very important. And I noticed that so many times, like when I was working for Stefanini, uh, a company when I was back in Brazil, I I saw many people like earning 4 times a lot more than me, and they had similar technical skills than me. But what was the difference? They had better soft skills. I was focusing too much on technical skills, and the others, they were ahead of me because they knew a lot more about soft skills. They knew how to communicate better, they knew how to understand the business requirements and create solutions for those requirements better than me. Um, they knew how to negotiate better, and that made for sure the difference to earn that much more than me. And I didn't have those skills, so it's very important to focus on those skills as well. And you have to prepare for interviews. So why is that? So why would that help you to be in high demand? It's because like if you are sharp with coding challenges and system design, you can basically pass in any interview. So like in even those big tech interviews. So if you're very sharp, if you're very good with those, you can probably pass on those interviews. So and you become a lot better software engineer. But as I said, it's important as well that you have your own pet project, because if you only practice those things without having something to apply those concepts, then it might happen that you're gonna have specific knowledge for the interview, but if you go beyond that, it's gonna be hard for you. So that's why it's also good to create a project of yours so that you apply this knowledge, right? And guys, if you have any questions, please let me know, because I'm reading here the chat. I just saw the question from Luis so far, but if you have any other questions, please let me know. So we are about, we're almost finishing here because it's almost 30 minutes. I can't stay much longer in the live. Unless you guys have any specific questions, I can stay a bit longer. But if we talk about communication, so it's important to have a good body language. Like you don't need to make crazy gestures or do crazy things with your body language. The only thing I recommend is to keep a straight posture, right? Because only by doing that, people will see you as a more confident person, and you're gonna feel better as well. And it's also good for your health, because if you keep straight posture, it's less likely that you're gonna have problems with your on your back, right? So why not? You're gonna get more confidence. You will potentially avoid back problems, and you're gonna look more confident. Yeah, so there are lots of benefits. So why not practicing that? And sometimes you're gonna have to be kind of conscious about that, self-aware, and you're gonna have to correct your posture. And so why those things? Why I'm talking about communication as a software developer? It's because the more you grow, the more it matters, right? Because you can be the best developer, but if you don't communicate clearly, you're gonna be seen as an inferior developer. Like if you're a senior software developer but you can't communicate very well, you can either be manipulated very easily by others, or you can be seen as someone who is not that good. Because if you can't communicate and if you can't get visibility within the company you are, then it's very difficult to get a promotion. It's difficult to show your work, to show your value. And like I said, other people can take your credit very easily if you can't communicate clearly. Doesn't mean that you have to knock other people down, or that people will be knocking you down as well. Obviously, you need to defend yourself when someone attack you. Uh, but you can't be naive. Like, communication is very important. Communication is one of the most important skills as software developers. The more you grow, the more communication becomes important. And if you think about it, communication you use during the code, when you're coding, you don't code for the machine, you code for the developers. The cleaner is your code, the better, right? Practice active listening. So whenever you're talking to someone, don't cut this person off. This is disrespectful. So listen to the person, understand, and listen to understand, not to just to listen. Like, you have to understand what this person, and make an effort to understand what's going on. If you don't know a word, ask, okay, what is this word? What is happening? And those simple things make a big difference, because, like, in the past I didn't know that it was that important to uh, actively listening to someone. Have you ever noticed how good it is when you are talking about something and someone is interested in what you're saying? And why not being interested in other person? And when I say that, it's to be genuinely interested in the other person, because if you're faking it, people notice. So it's so good when someone listening to you. So why not would you give this gift to someone else, right? And you can create friends a lot easier if you're listening to them instead of talking about yourself, right? So the human nature is very egocentric, right? Uh, we like to talk about ourselves. That's human nature. So that's why when like, you would make a friend a lot faster if you listen to this person. So why not to make this effort and create a connection a lot faster. And when you're listening to someone, be interested in what this person is saying in a genuine way. So if you don't have any questions, guys, that's pretty much it. This is just a warm-up for the high value developer roadmap that will happen in the next week on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. I'm gonna release the videos at 8 a.m. London time, and you have to watch it as soon as possible, because I will remove the videos because if I let it a lot of time available, it's very unlikely that you're gonna watch during those days, so it won't be available for long. So I'm gonna ask you to watch as soon as possible. As soon as it is released, I'm gonna recommend you to watch it whenever possible, right? So that's pretty much it, Challenger. I'm very happy that you are here. You are focusing on your career. If you couldn't watch it now, it's okay, because I'm gonna give you some time to watch this warm-up series. And the intention of this warm-up series is to warm up you for the important event that will happen in the next week. So the next week event, High Value Developer Roadmap, is the event that have a strong potential to transform your Java career. So that's pretty much it, Challenger. If you have, it's okay, David. Yeah, I'm seeing you here. You can still watch it. So I'm gonna still share the link with you, and then you can watch it. I won't be live, but if you have any questions now, I might answer you. Otherwise, it's okay. You can send a message on any other uh, social media like Twitter, Instagram, I'm gonna be happy to answer you. So thank you so much, Challenger, and I'll see you in the next live. We're gonna do another live tomorrow. And yeah, looking forward. Okay, Michael has a question here. Yeah, so AI tools, they are really important. Um, so we need to use them because it makes us more productive as software developers. So it doesn't mean that the AI will take our jobs, but using Copilot, using ChatGPT 4, those are good tools to create code or uh, solving problems or finding a bug or optimizing code. Like AI is an extremely powerful tool, and you need to use them. So using AI is like being a cyborg because it's it brings us a huge amount of intelligence, right? Because AI read I don't know how many books. Like it's crazy how much information uh, AI is able to learn and adapt. It's insane. It's so much power. So like I would recommend every developer to use AI to create code. But if you use AI, please understand what's going on behind the scenes because AI makes a lot of mistakes as well. Okay, that's amazing, David. Thank you so much. That's pretty much it, guys. So if you have any other question, please send to me on Twitter, Instagram, any other social media. I'm gonna be happy to answer you. Tomorrow, I'm gonna run another video, another live. Um, and if you can't attend during the live, it's okay. I can share the video with you later. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you very soon.